Utopia means something different to all of us. It's the concept of a perfect place. Many people have set out to create their own utopias in real life. Some have put a huge amount of resources into achieving it. But in the words of the journalist Peter Hitchens, utopia is only approached across a sea of blood, and you never get there. Robert Owen was a Welsh mill owner who made a huge fortune for himself. In 1824, he went to America to build a utopian society. He found a town which had already been built, bought it, and called it New Harmony. He envisioned a socialist community at New Harmony and invited everyone and anyone to join him. But most who joined him were either, and I quote, lazy or crazy. Some intellectuals were also attracted to the town, and New Harmony became a center of enlightenment. All goods were equally distributed to members of New Harmony, but the lazy and crazy people weren't productive enough to keep this going forever. After a while, the intellectuals all left, and the experiment collapsed in 1829. But it was a major influence on a young man called Karl Marx. In 1928, Henry Ford had the idea of creating his own town in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. He set up a community in Brazil, which he called Fordlandia. His car factories needed a constant supply of rubber. People living in Fordlandia would extract and cultivate such rubber. 10,000 people moved into Fordlandia and got to work. Henry Ford banned the consumption of alcohol, which did not go down well. The workers held a massive strike, and riots broke out. Much of the factories were destroyed and the town never recovered. Fordlandia was abandoned in 1934. Some local Brazilians eventually took over Fordlandia, with 2,000 now calling it home. Fruitlands only lasted for about a year. It was a vegetarian settlement established by anarchists. Eating meat or using animal product was strictly banned. So it was a vegan group back in 1843. They were not allowed to use animals to help them work in the fields, and were only able to plant crops which wouldn't disturb earthworms. As a result of this, they were unable to grow enough food to go around. The winter of 1843 was especially harsh. In order to survive it, some members took to eating insects. Before long, they all left. Although not much of a utopia, PALMANOVA is still an active commune in northern Italy. It was founded in 1593 as a new kind of society. The town was designed to be a place where all could live in peace, so they took a bunch of convicted murderers and relieved them of their prison sentences. In return for their freedom, they would live and work in PALMANOVA. As anyone could have predicted, the whole town soon descended into chaos. PALMANOVA ended up worse than its surrounding settlements, which for the 16th century is saying a lot. The Shakers were a religious group who emerged in 18th century England. They wanted a society where women held power and where no one had sex. So they went to the New World. By 1920, there were 12 active Shaker communities. At their peak, 20,000 people lived there. They were known for their bizarre behavior, visibly shaking during religious worship, and that's where they got their name. People would visit their communities just to see what they were like. But today, only one Shaker community is still active. Apparently, their belief in abstinence meant they didn't produce enough children to maintain their communities. In 1970, an American architect got to work building his own utopia. He wanted a small community deep in the desert, which doesn't harm the environment in any way. So he went to Arizona and built what looks more like an area in Fallout than anything else. His plan failed, mostly because no one wanted to move there. 50 people live there today. They have big plans to expand, still hoping for a utopian society. If nothing else, we should admire their dedication. Equality Colony was an attempt to create a socialist utopia in Washington state. It was founded by a group called Brotherhood of the Cooperative Commonwealth. This was in 1897. Colony members equally shared work and reward, and so their society rapidly grew. At one point they even had their own blacksmith, but their population fell to just 100 by the year 1903. People just fell out of love with the colony. By 1907, all had abandoned it, and Equality Colony is now largely forgotten. John Ruskin was a leading socialist writer of the 19th century. After him was named a Utopian colony in Tennessee. It was founded by a newspaper editor in 1894. He believed a socialist revolution was nearing. The idea was that the founding of small communes would prompt an international revolution, but after a few years of difficult survival, some colony members wondered why the revolution never came. Most people left, and Ruskin Colony collapsed in 1900 for no particular reason. It was just poorly run. I hope you haven't forgotten Robert Owen, the founder of New Harmony. Before going to North America, he attempted to set up a socialist utopia in Scotland. It all grew from a cotton mill, where houses were built for its workers. The whole settlement was sold to Robert Owen. He called it New Lanark and gave its population everything they need to survive. It wasn't really socialist, but was self-reliant for many years. New Lanark only met trouble when the cotton mills fell into decline. Less people were buying cotton, and the mills eventually shut down. Without any means to make money, its population simply left. People just abandoned the settlement. AUROVILLE is the ultimate destination for spiritual maniacs. It's one of many utopian projects in India. With a giant metallic sphere in its center, AUROVILLE is meant to be a place where all can live happy and free, but really the place is full of child molesters, or at least that allegation has been made. Either way, it's no utopia if people are making such allegations. According to rumor, there are many pedophiles who live there, and the collective population protect them.